On digital radio,
FM,
your smart speaker,
and on BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio Scotland.
And this is Good Morning Scotland. It's just gone 24 minutes to 7. Now, concerns over taxation and recruitment threaten Scotland's economic growth. That's according to the latest survey from the Scottish Chambers of Commerce. The disparity between personal taxation between England and Scotland is highlighted as an issue, deterring some higher earners from coming here, as they would, in effect, be getting a lower take-home pay salary check. Joining us now is the President of the Scottish Chambers of Commerce, Stephen Leckie. Good morning to you, Stephen.
Good morning, Laura.
And just talk us through then your latest survey of how businesses are feeling. Is any optimism creeping in, given that inflation has fallen?
Well, yes. So we are more optimistic than we were 3 months ago. That means that sales are looking better. The level of business confidence is a little bit higher. Why? Well, inflation has dropped a little, but there is still inflation. Prices are still high. The cost of doing business is still high. Interest rates, there's talk of interest rates dropping, but interest rates are still high. And the issue with people, finding people, every single company we speak to in Scotland says the same thing. Their number one issue is finding the right people with the right skills to do their job. And that has a number of ramifications. One is the...
Why has recruitment specifically been such an issue?
Since COVID, since Brexit, finding the right people. So in hospitality, if hospitality used to employ 22% of its people came from Eastern European countries, that's now 2 or 3%. There's a significant gap there. And in other sectors, they're just not coming to Scotland. The businesses can't find them. And if they can, then there are two further issues. One is housing. Where do they stay? So let's look at, for example, the very amazing green Freeport of Inverness and Cromarty. They have hundreds of millions of pounds of investment going in, and if they can't find the staff, the people, the management, the executives to run their companies, having spent hundreds of millions of pounds, or somewhere to house them, then they can't make the money, the return they're looking for from that investment.
None of that's related to taxation, though, which your survey comes up as the biggest issue that businesses have.
Well, it's one of the issues businesses have. So the disparity in tax, personal tax in Scotland, 3% more than the counterpart in England. So if you work in London, Manchester, Birmingham, and are attracted to the green Freeport, for example, of Inverness and Cromarty, and then you realise if I earn £120,000 a year, I'm likely to pay £4,500 a year more in personal tax, that will put these people off. That is putting these people off. That's what our members around the Scottish Chambers are saying.
They're the very highest earners, though, and a lot of the jobs that you're talking about in terms of hospitality and other areas, the pay just isn't anywhere near that level.
Okay, let's. So, if in the financial services sector, if the average median pay is £50,000 a year, you're paying £2,000 a year, roughly, more in tax in Scotland than you would be in England. That puts people off. And
are businesses then? You say it's putting people off. Are they just learning to live with that, or are they having to pay people more in order to attract them to Scotland?
So if they attract somebody to their company and the pay is more than the person is on in their current company, what we're hearing is that same person then says to the current company, look, I'm being offered £10,000 a year, for example, more to go and work in this new company, and that current company matches it, which leaves the new company looking for that member staff or member management team short. They can't persuade that person to come, and the wages have gone up by £10,000 in this example.
Does that always bear out, though? Because we've been told several times by government ministers that actually there are more people moving to Scotland from England in recent years.
Well, the net migration issue, it's about the detailed figures. So at what level in the economy do the government claim that these people are migrating to Scotland? What businesses are saying is that may be, whatever that may be, but simply they cannot find the staff to do the jobs that the businesses require to continue having the level of confidence to invest in the future in their company.
And we also have the new EY report out, which has found that the number of foreign investment projects secured in Scotland rose to a record 124 during last year. That was almost a 13% rise on the previous year. So it seems to suggest that businesses are still willing to invest here.
Yes, and that's great news. And the Scottish Chambers of Commerce have spent a lot of time persuading international companies to come and invest into Scotland. There are still there are many good things about investing in Scotland. The green free ports in Edinburgh and Inverness being two examples.
But do you think taxation and recruitment issues are likely to impact on inward investment in the future then, if things aren't evened out?
Yes, they are. Yes, and we've heard this time and time again from the most recent survey. If the concern a few months ago was inflation and interest rates, now that concern is the taxation and the cost of doing business in Scotland compared to other parts of Europe and Great Britain.
We'll be hearing from the the Cabinet Secretary of State for Finance and the Economy, Kate Forbes, in around an hour's time. But she has told us in a statement that Scotland has the most progressive income tax system in the UK, and that the government would monitor the impact of tax policy to ensure it delivers for taxpayers and the wider economy ahead of the 2025-26 Scottish budget. If the government says they are monitoring this, what else would you like to see ministers do?
Well, the data that comes from government takes a while, months, if not years, to come out. What the Scottish Chamber's quarterly economic survey tells us is something much more recent, something much more current. So the ask of governments north and south, and the Scottish Chambers of Commerce has a 15-point plan for the UK government. And so I'm not about to read these 15 points out, Laura. But for example, the commitment to no more new UK taxes or levies on business. And in Scotland, for example, we know we have the visitor levy coming our way. We are asking for a reduction in VAT on hospitality. The windfall tax, alcohol duty is up. All these different little bits of tax make a difference to the level of confidence that the business has to reinvest for the future of their company.
Stephen, thank you very much indeed for your time this